Call the regular meeting of February 18th, 2020 to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Larry Armstrong.
Here.
Sean Douglas.
Here.
Michael Howry.
Here.
Michelle Hayes.
Here.
Gene Sensi.
Here.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the organizational meeting of January 9th, 2020?
I'll move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 9th, 2020?
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of January 28th, 2020?
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michelle Hayes.
I abstain.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Abstain.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Vote is 3-0-2.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 28th, 2020?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Abstain.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howry.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 4-0-1.
Board member reports. I think I'm going to start this evening with, we have a prepared statement that I'm going to read. This is regarding the recent staff reductions that we've had to make here at the district. So I'll read this now. The state requires all school districts to maintain a balanced budget. In the Madison Local School District, we face two primary budget challenges. We have limited funds available, and our enrollment is declining. In order to balance our budget, we must continuously evaluate our staffing in relation to our number of students. As enrollment declines, we need fewer staff members to provide the same level of support for our students. Some of the personnel reductions will be made from retirements and resignations. Unfortunately, there are several positions that must also be eliminated. The Special Financing District Operating Renewal Levy on the ballot in March provides approximately $1 million in annual revenue. Even with this continued revenue, these reductions are necessary for next year in order to balance our 2020-2021 fiscal year budget. In everything we do here in Madison, we aim to be as efficient and effective as possible while still protecting the quality of the education we provide our students. While these are not choices we make lightly, we are confident these decisions will propel Madison schools into 2021 with a compliant financial position without sacrificing the quality of education for our students. So these are tough times for our district and having to make these decisions. We don't do it lightly, as I stated. It's very difficult. We respect all of our staff members and we appreciate their contributions, but we do have a responsibility to balance the budget, and unfortunately this is the circumstance we find ourselves in. I know it's board member reports, but do you or Mike have anything you want to add to the
Just
conversation?
difficult decisions that we're being forced to make.
I'd just like to ask, if we hit a deficit, what's the consequences of that? Had we done nothing and get into deficit spending or approaching a deficit?
Well, Angela and I have she's written a letter, we've done the financial work to report to the state that anytime your 5-year forecast, current year cannot have a deficit. That would be, you cannot pass an appropriations measure where you don't have the money to fund it. So the concern with the state is we have a deficit for the rest of the forecast, but their concern is 2 more years out. And we had to put a plan together to eliminate that deficit, and that's kind of what we had done at the last meeting. So, in a nutshell, we cannot have a deficit at the end of the year. That's a violation of the Ohio Revised Code, and if we were to submit a forecast with a current year deficit, the state would be coming in here and telling us how to do our job.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because we can make the decisions on what we need to do that's best for Madison, not the state of Ohio
Right.
coming in and telling us what we would have to cut to make the numbers work.
But to be clear, in our letter, we looked at everything as far as expenditures that we have per pupil, revenue per pupil, how much we get in catastrophic costs, and I did it last year, I did it again. I said, if you just even adequately funded catastrophic costs, we would not be in this position. I think it was $700 and some odd thousand they shorted us in catastrophic costs because they don't fund the line fully in the budget. And that's, all those really expensive special needs kids.
Well, that's just for 1 year, though.
Yes.
Correct.
And if they continue, if they
They do
adequately
that
funded.
every year.
Right, and if they adequately funded that line, we would have a totally different financial position.
We're shorted about $700,000 a year based on what they say they should reimburse us and what we actually get. For the fiscal year 2018, we applied for more than $1 million in reimbursement and got 300 and some thousand.
Now, do we spend about the same in that category as other school districts of our size?
Yes. Yeah.
So
But-
we don't, by any means, there's no over-identifying, there's no, we don't have any more students that need additional cost than any other district.
No, and we do a good job in this district putting them at the proper placement while keeping in mind the cost that it takes. But when you have a severely disabled child that you are responsible for until age 22, you're looking at a student that could cost you $1.5 million over the life of, or over their career here. We did have 4 students last year that were over $100,000 apiece. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about reimbursement, we're not talking about reimbursement for every dollar that we spend. We're talking about a split in the amount that we spend over $27,000 on a kid. So we're already paying the first $27,000. On these kids that we filed for, I believe the number that we spent on them was a little over $3 million. And we were asking for $1 million, not asking, according to the formula, we were entitled to $1 million in reimbursement, which they, because as Angela said, underfund the line item, have no ability to pay for it anywhere else, systematically reduce every reimbursement in the state of Ohio by 68%. So, it's a lot of work. Someday, and a few years ago, they almost properly funded it. They put $150 million into that line item. It's now in the $15 million range.
And those expenses statewide have not gone down to 15 million.
Right. So,
So these staff reductions that we're announcing are for next school year.
Correct.
So we're announcing these early so that these staff members who are affected have the opportunity to apply for other districts or look for other opportunities that might benefit them, so that we're not doing this last minute.
Correct.
So we're trying to respect those teachers so that they can do that. And other staff members, I know there's other staff members involved other than just teaching staff, but trying to do this as early as we can. You've already notified all of these folks personally, is that right? So that they can be prepared for this.
Yes.
And I know that we approved this at our last meeting, but we're more making this public now today.
Correct.
Any other board member reports? Open the first public participation portion for the evening on agenda items only. Anyone wishing to address the board can do so. State your name and address for the board. Seeing none. Next is employment of the superintendent. So we'd be looking for a resolution to amend the current employment contract of Angela Smith to reflect a change in severance terms as found in file in the board office.
I'll move.
A second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Next motion will be to accept the retirement resignation of Angela Smith effective at the end of business on July 31st, 2020, and approve her subsequent rehire effective August 4th, 2020, as recommended by the board president.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I'll point out that this is part of a cost reduction to the district. Total savings to the district will be about $9,200. This includes a salary reduction for the superintendent of about $7,000. The additional savings of about $2,000 comes from the district retirement contributions, workers' compensation, and Medicare costs. So although the superintendent would be retiring and immediately returning, this saves the district about $9,200. This is just part of our strategy for reducing costs. Obviously, this is good for the superintendent personally, but this is good for the district in reducing costs to the district. And this is $9,200 annually. So over the course of a 5-year contract, nearly $50,000 in savings to the district while we're dealing with these deficits.
So we thank you for your commitment to Madison Public Schools.
This also provides consistent leadership in a time period where we're dealing with deficits. We have to continue to provide a quality education to our students here in Madison. So, the board in whole, and I'm speaking for the board, speaking for myself, is very happy with Angela's leadership to the district. So this is a good opportunity for us to realize the savings. This is good for Angela personally, and just makes good sense for Madison when we're dealing with deficits. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Reports and recommendations of the treasurer.
Thank you. I only have the items that are on the agenda today. So the first is to approve the financial reports for all funds, fund-to-fund transfer report, and the check payment register for January 2020.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howery,
Yes.
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0. And the next two items are to accept a generous donation of mittens, hats, and socks from Park United Methodist Church to South Elementary School to be used as needed, and a generous donation of multiple school supplies from Madison Seventh-day Adventist Church to Madison Middle School to be used as needed.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Thank you very much for the generous donations.
Roll call?
Michelle Hayes,
Yes.
Gene Sensi,
Yes.
Larry Armstrong,
Yes.
Sean Douglas,
Yes.
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0. That's all I have tonight.
Reports of the administrative team.
First, I'd like to say thank you for accepting my rehire. You think about a career and you get, I remember when I first became a teacher and people saying, oh, you can't wait to retire, you can't wait to retire, you can't wait to get to that spot. And even though I'm, eligible to retire, I feel I have a whole lot more to give to this district, and I want to get this district on better financial footing. I want to leave it for whoever succeeds me in a solid financial position. I dream big, but that's the goal. That's the goal. And it's just hard to believe that 33 years have gone by in a career, and here I am looking at the decisions of STRS and all those things. But I greatly appreciate it, and thank you for your faith in me.
Thank you for your service.
I have a few items to report. I wanted to, I put it in the newsletter, but I wanted to, again, go on record as to why we had a snow day on Thursday. We typically make that call between 5 and 5:15. So I was up talking with Pat Smith at 5 o'clock, and he said, roads in the village are fine, nothing to worry about, don't worry, we're good to cancel school, or keep school open. And I said, okay, I'm going back to sleep, because I had slept on and off, knowing that I was going to be up probably with weather. Next thing I know, my phone's ringing at 5:30. Pat goes, those roads south had not been touched. I hang up with Pat, I have a text from Michelle. The roads south are a mess. And Pat had said that he had, not seen a plow, and I don't know what happened, but I did let the township know that the roads in the south were a mess. And that's why we were the only one in a 3-county area to make that call on Thursday morning. I have the assurance that that will not happen again, that those roads will get plowed early enough in the morning that this should not be an issue. Because there was really no other reason to close. But if you drive those roads south, back by Devaday Winery, some of those little narrow roads, if they haven't been touched, that one bus could go off in a ravine. And that is not anything we want for our students or our drivers. So that was why that call was made. Dave is not here tonight. He is at a literacy conference. Bill Mayer is presenting about family partnerships. And Dave is down there because there is another round of literacy funding grants through the state of Ohio. We will be applying this time with a consortium consisting of Berkshire, Cardinal, possibly Paynesville City, Fairport Harbor, and ourselves. And we're looking at a secondary model this time to promote literacy at the secondary level. So more to come on that. And then my final thing is in the mail today, we got our TIF on Mary's Diner. The township had acted on that at their last township meeting, and they sent the resolution. So. That's my report.
Your recommendations?
All right. On the personnel motion, we're asking you to accept the resignation of Jerry Lynn Momini, Madison School Secretary, effective February 19th, 2020. The board is I'm asking the board to enter into the following employment contracts to employ each of the following substitute teachers as approved by the Lake County Educational Service Center and/or the Madison Local School District's Assistant Superintendent under a 1-year limited substitute teacher contract, beginning with Amy Hamill and ending with Crystal White. To employ Donna Ritchie as a food service helper at Madison High School at a compensation of $11.36 per hour for 3 3/4 hours per day effective February 6th, 2020. And to approve a change in placement on the teacher salary schedule. That would be Aaron Nusker from BA to MA, step 6. And the following transfer Karen Alley from a 6.5-hour position as a special needs assistant at Madison Middle School to a 6-hour per day special needs assistant at Madison Pre-K, effective February 18th, 2020. Actually, amend that date to the 24th.
Motion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
All right, the next item is the resolution authorizing our membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for next year.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
All right, and I have printed draft calendars for you. Several years ago, the legislature said you have to do a public reading, first reading of the calendar, and then 30 days later you can approve it. So I'm bringing to you tonight a 2-year calendar. Basically, 87 days in the first semester for both years. Spring break, we moved to that last full week in March, and several years ago, and we keep it there. We have moved the start back to the third week in August, because this year it crept into that second week in August, and that was way too early. Regionally, we've all gone to somewhere during that third week in August. It does end school in both calendars before Memorial Day, with the teacher last day being before Memorial Day.
Just out of curiosity, why are we doing a 2-year instead of a 1 year?
Because not a whole lot changes, and it gives people, they start asking over and over again for that calendar.
Only because I'm hopeful that at some point the state will do something about that testing schedule and we won't have to start on August 16th or 17th.
Correct. But they haven't done anything yet. Right now, they're tied up with vouchers. I still don't have the new cutoff scores for graduation from ODE, so I am thinking it's going to be at least another 2 years before they address the calendar, because they're making report card changes supposedly and all sorts of things.
Well, they've never done that before.
I mean, we're supposed to have what not the proficient score, but what the competency score is on these tests the first week in March. But they've been so wrapped up in the voucher thing, they haven't told us what that is.
Wow.
Yeah, so, if they change it, we can always revisit. So it's a
Motion?
draft.
I don't think it requires a vote, does it?
No.
Okay.
No, just a first reading. Next time you will.
Well, as a parent, I appreciate the fixed spring break, so we can plan for that every year, so that we're not guessing each year as to when that's going to be. As somebody who plans fundraising events for other organizations, I also appreciate it, because if you're doing a reverse raffle anytime in March or April, and Gene will know far more about this than I do, trying to look at the school calendars and figure out what districts are going to be in town, it's not easy. I know that's not our concern, but
No,
handy up for other purposes.
there's lots that goes into planning a calendar.
Okay. Consent calendar?
All right, under the consent calendar, we're asking you to approve a consultant services contract with Vince Primer as MHS freshman basketball coach effective December 1st, 2019 through February 28th, 2020, to approve the Gridiron Club reverse raffle being held at Immaculate Conception Church on March 28th, 2020, and to approve a contract between Madison Local School District and Orange City Schools to provide educational services for a Madison student placed in their district.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I do have a quick question. I apologize. I should have seen this earlier and asked, and I did not. Where are the funds coming from for this consultant service contract?
They're Gridiron, not Gridiron, Rebound Club.
Okay.
Yeah, their booster group, the basketball booster group.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Roll call.
Sean Douglas,
Yes?
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
That's it, right? All right. Now open the second public participation portion for the evening. This is on any item that you'd like to address. You state your name and address for the board. Seeing none, do we have a need for executive session? Nothing, Mike? Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Michael Howery.
Yes.
Michelle Hayes.
Yes.
Gene Sensi.
Yes.
Larry Armstrong. Sean Douglas.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.